1 at. Greetings. This topic is also not new at all, but just repeated to him that it is about the victims of choice in Iraq and some advice to them. First of all, it is up to the victim if she seriously decides to save herself from a terrorist gang and thieves who are exploiting Christianity in Iraq as a cover for them and from the gospel church that has fallen into the hand of terror. Firstly, the victim must know that she is completely nothing and there is no capacity for her, no followers, and there is no something called that she received a gift from God, or that the Holy Spirit entered his body, or that it became something distinctive, etc. All these are lies that have no truth. Also, he must know that God alone knows only the unseen. I mean, he has to return to the real reality of life and look at himself. Of course, unfortunately, many of the victims are very poor or have a mental contract and mental illnesses, or those who have been deceived by the gang in their unusual ways. They honestly have a cadre specialized in all kinds of lies and deception, are very professional in this, and they have a teacher especially in lying and deceit, and they have graduated from it. And I also say frankly that it is difficult to uncover those who also use very advanced technology, including the internet and the telephone. We find that the gang has subordinate elements within the security institutions and the state as well. Here I want to give you another truth about Iraq. It is that after the international forces left it, it fell into the hands of a terrorist gang, which is a terrorist intelligence network that took control of the source of the decision in it. But this has not been announced at all, and there are reasons many of this, including terror, if it declares its control. 2 that. In public, he will not be able to reach other goals he wants. For example, he wants harm against America, the countries of Europe and their friends. That is why the issue was kept a secret. As for those who were the source of the decision, they are either terrorism and they were traitors, they pretended to be good, and after leaving the coalition countries they appeared as they are. Or they have become mere pawns only to terrorism or only servants to it. The important thing is that terrorism completely took control of Iraq and became the one ruling everything. Another thing I want to say is that the Voice of God organization, which is the Church of the Bible, which is a very serious mistake, is the one who was made a source of decision, and it is the one who turned in order to show its truth, of course led by an intelligence officer who made them. He himself is a prophet, and this terrorist has opened branches inside Iraq and has appointed a person affiliated to him. Here the explanation will begin about the relationship of victims of brain control, type of choice. They are just idiots who are made only scapegoats or mistakes. Here we have Iraq. The actual leader of it is this secret gang that controls everything, and it is quite similar to the model of the Ba'ath Party in Iraq previously, as it was a well-known public party and there were branches of it in every place or province in Iraq, and each branch was the highest authority in any province or a city in which he is, and, for example, the directors of all government and security institutions are the ones who appoint and dismiss them, even the governor and others here who have exactly the same thing, but with a slight difference, which is that this gang operates in secret, so there is no known place for it, but even those who have been made responsible for the provinces or cities are they unidentified persons. Of course, there is no one in all of Iraq capable of holding this gang accountable. 3 at which made itself an organization and tells them, why do you not have an own place? Here. The other game comes, which is that the leader of this gang who made himself a prophet and he who leads all of Iraq is also an unknown person, and as I also said, the leaders of this gang's branches across Iraq are unknown. Now we get to something very important, which is that this is a gang of terror and thieves who came to steal and destroy only, and not, of course, to help the poor or grow flowers, and this needs a scapegoat, a scare of birds, or a stinger for mistakes in order to throw the responsibility on him. So there is no gang in Iraq except for them two. Thieves in Iraq all have become members of theirs. I mean, when anything happens in all parts of Iraq, they have done this. For example, terrorist operations against coalition countries everywhere in Iraq, they are the ones who carried out them, and all branches of this gang are involved in them. Here came the turn of the victims. They are the ones who were made the director, not with his hand or facing him only. I mean, the leader of this terrorist gang in Iraq has a way, which is that he exploits the bodies of these people in order to lead his gang, or choose branches from them in order to become the one who leads the rest of the branches in Iraq. I mean, for example, the victim lived in the province of Ghounia in central Iraq. Here leader the gang in Iraq that made itself a prophet by making this branch a leader of all branches of the gang, and not only this, but that it will throw its officials everything that steals it on the victim of choice and claims that it is orders were issued from this victim. Of course, some people may laugh at this and say that he never told anyone to steal. He also did not appoint anyone to become the director of any government institution as well. He does not have any organization to register their agents. For that also, he does not have a position because he does not sit in any position. Also, he does not have any money, and this is what almost all the victims said. But there is a game about which these victims are not aware at all, and it is his dirtiness called the unseen. Here the victim is eating and drinking, and this is a sure thing, and he thinks that this is normal. But does he know that these are orders, or are they recording items with the gang? It means what kind of food and drink are recorded as elements that become in this gang dirty. Does he know this also when he throws some food or he says about and that it is bad here? Elements of the gang are also expelled. The clothes are the same thing, but all the things that he uses, for example, the mobile, battery, bowl, mug, spoon, or any book, papers, or pictures he keeps, etc. of the necessary things, and they look very normal. But I have tricks. All this gang means orders, decisions, expulsion, or registration. Also, the victim's family are members of the gang as well as anyone who knows them, communicates with them, speaks with them, hears their voices or sees, etc. of the dirty tricks. This is the game that will make the victim of choice assume responsibility for things about which he does not know anything. Here is another question, which is behind this from this spy who implanted a brain control chip on the victim, and he is the one who recorded the victim's family and whoever knows them from friends or others. Is he a friend, or is a guard angel, or is the victim's secretary, proxy, servant, or someone who carries out what the victim says, or is the voice of God? The answer is that he is a terrorist, a thief, a spy who works with what he wants only, and he is the one who leads all the elements of the gang. And he does not take a single word that the victim says at all. I mean, the victim can reveal this seeks out easily by giving an order in the air, holding some tomatoes, onions, as if he were a crazy person, and giving an order and saying, "Give me 20 million dinars," and not all of the laws. Of course, this spy terrorist will not implement anything at all. Also, the victim can try this with his family or friends in theirs, and also the result will be the same. Of course, this, as I said, is not through your secretary to punish him, or through him in the nearest waste container or sewage cistern and overcharge it so that he can spend the rest of his life in it. He will be affected and leave and not come back again, nor is he affiliated with someone dear to you in order to inform him about him in order to punish him. Rather, he is a spy thief who wants to make you escape, which that bears all the consequences of his dirty actions. Rather, the more you disapprove of it, it will become more stubborn and become like a homosexual child, and whenever you open the internet, it came to register elements that let them as well. Whenever you go to any person or talk to him or hear or eat something or drink or wear something, etc. an organization, or you are an administrator of an institution, and this spy works in it as a secretary. He is a terrorist spy who tries to hide himself and to make you look like you are the leader while you are nothing. Another thing I want to say to each victim has been deceived by the way of a donkey and a carrot, and who may think that he will not lose anything when it becomes his face or a scapegoat, or he thinks that he will get something if he walks or obeys the gang's orders and continues to act according to its laws, or what he wants and remain silent. There are reasons for silence. First of all, as I said, it is because the victim is very stupid or stupid. 7. That he did not know anything, or that he had mental illnesses, and at the same time he was also stupid and thought that he had obtained authority from God, and because he was stupid, he did not know the difference between the power of God and between the tricks of the gang and the technology of weapons and brain control programs, and he thought that the Holy Spirit was with him and watched him while terror planted his control chip. Also, if he does something they want, then he will receive some fodder or hashish like a donkey, and he will think that God has provided for him because he is walking on a path that the gang told him to walk with. And if he disagrees, he will be exposed to problems, including the group of the morally degraded, and thinks that God is angry from him, while the gang is the one who made them do evil. Notice that the gang has made itself from God, but with instructions different from what we know completely. This is also the type of victims. Perhaps the reason for their silence is the fear of this gang and its influence in the security services in Iraq, and because they are very weak and very poor, they are also used ways, for example, to prevent those who give them some trivial help, or to expel them from the house of their families while they are poor and do not have any money to live in another house. There are also idiots of the victims. Noon, they will not be held accountable in the law if they remain silent, or no one will come to them. Of course, this is a mistake, perhaps currently this gang, and because the problem of brain control weapons and the emergence of these gangs in the Bible Church is something new, a new problem that has become a threat to humans, and there is no explicit law that is considered it forbidden weapons may not be used. Gangs exploit Christianity in Iraq and the Bible Church. Of course, this is only temporarily. This is how the problem of slavery lasted for many years, but in the end laws were issued in it. That was also similar to the problem of brain control because the law was with slavery, and if the victim went to file a complaint in the court against whoever made him a slave, the case would be rejected, but the judge would order the police to hold the victim and return him to his owner or his master, and this is exactly the same thing now when some victims resort to the law or security services in Iraq, for it will find that they are with the gang and the victim is just a victim who has a number in the brain control chip that was implanted on it without knowledge or desire, as if it was a wild horse that was caught and a tag was placed on it so that everyone knows that there is someone who owns it, even if this was not given to him anything. Here I say that the victim will be involved with the gang if he does not clear it. There is another thing, and he who told him that he would not be held accountable. The gang is the one who will hold him accountable, but with the gang laws. This is not church at all. They are gangs a million times worse than the mafia, meaning mafia gangs in comparison with a gang that takes the Church of the Bible as its place in Iraq. The mafia does not kill any donkey they use, but rather leave it while these will kill and destroy the victim of choice after being used as a scapegoat. They also killed him at the first moment in which it fell because the brain control chip that is placed on it is not in the hand but inside the brain, and this means ending the DNA completely. This means the crime of murder. Also, the gang laws will be a guerrilla war against him that amounts to killing by regular means, as they are not a respectable organization at all, but worse than the mafia gangs in which if the victim is in them, then there is great hope of evading them if he works with them. I mean, he migrates to another country, for example. Or even change its name or shape while this one. 9. For example, Iraq is the main office for this gang. Another thing that escapes from the mafia, maybe if he goes to the security services and tells them the truth, is that he was working with the mafia but he left work while they pursue him. A safe place will be provided for him and he may be imprisoned for a period, but he will survive while this is not. It helps with the gang that they are a terrorist demon who has no religion, and it is a very fatal mistake that I do not know how to describe, and he opened such an organization in Iraq and adopted a terrorist intelligence officer and made him director of the Iraq branch. He is an unclean terrorist who leads all branches of this organization in Iraq. Also, there is no lie. There are bad branches and absolutely good branches, all of which are a terrorist organization led by a despicable terrorist. Of course, this organization has no relationship with the coalition countries at all. And this leader is a demon who played a game much larger than his size. He plays as if he is a good father and the branches in Iraq are his children. He gave him authority to see all the branches in Iraq, but also made him form branches, but she is also homosexual. Both wives. 10 The wives of this devil are from the Church of the Bible. Here they notice the way to America, the countries of Europe and their friends. It is through Christianity and homosexuals. The reason is that Satan, who made himself a prophet in Iraq, or the Spirit of God, left all the countries of Europe and America and their friends and came to Iraq to marry an evil woman and who is a despicable homosexual. What this impure soul? It means that it is a shame that holds its rose in the heart of love and runs after a bad woman in Iraq who eats of her bread and runs behind his ass, and a homosexual security agent in Iraq. It is a spirit of shame, and shame only like this has no place except in hell, and not letting him change his wives in Iraq. Also, if he thinks he has a secret or no one can end his life, or the curse will come to anyone who does this, I personally bear this. I mean punishing a terrorist who attacked the international forces in Iraq. If he is punishing him, the curse will be upon him. I want this damn 11 By the way, in fact, I'd advise all victims in Iraq not imitated my style by talk, cause this spy devil and his gangs will kill them or hurted by mind control weapons, or if they have position they will lose it, even if they have little job in any government development or non-governmental, also they will lose it, also their family will hurted. But I didn't have any things to lose, no job, no any organization, not have any position in any things, also no family in Iraq, no wife, nothing I care about it to lose it. I just attack only, no defender in Iraq, in all Iraq. Also I'm not someone important, I'm just little person only, even home I don't have. Also again, I'm not responsible about this spy devil and his filthy wife and his bisexual guy, both are his wife in Iraq, and I choose to kill for them.